welcome back. Today we are zooming on a critical part of GraphQL puzzle, object types and fields. If you have been wondering how GraphQL knows which fields a type has or why there are exclamation marks and brackets in your schema, this video is for you. Okay, first let's just make a quick overview. In GraphQL, object types are the backbone of your schema. They represent the different entities or objects that you can fetch from your service. Each object type lists the fields you can query, and each field must specify a type. Consider this example as you can see here in GraphQL schema definition. What is going on here? We have a character is an object type. We have a name and appears in. The name, they are field on the character type. We have a string scalar. A string is a scalar type. It's just a single value, no nested fields. A string with exclamation mark means the field is non-null. GraphQL promises a value will be returned for this field or an error if something goes wrong. We have here episode and we have exclamation mark is a list type of episodes of episode objects. The exclamation mark means we can't get null for the appears in field itself, like outer, and we can't get null for any of the items in the list inner. Okay, so let's just break down the type definition. Again, let's go with the same thing again here. So let's just break down the code line by line. So we have type character. What is this? Not JSON. This should be GraphQL. We have the type character. Okay, let's start with the type here. We have the type character. Let's start with the character right now. Okay, this defines a GraphQL object types named character. We have the name is a string with the exclamation mark. The name is a field on the character type. It returns a string that cannot be null. We said before, if we have this, that means the string cannot be null. If the server can't provide a string, it should return an error rather than null. We have the appears in. The appears in, and it's another field on the character object. Its type is a non-null list of episode objects, each of which is also non-null. That means when you query appears in, you will always receive an array, and each element inside that array should be a valid episode object. Okay, we need to understand why the non-null, no, this is a bit why the non-null and lists matter. Okay, so let's start first on, let's go right here, on the non-null, okay? This annotation is critical for GraphQL clients. It tells them to expect a definite value. If the server can't return that field for some reason, the server must raise an error. This helps you avoid having to handle null for fields that should always have data. Number two, we need to talk about lists. These let you represent a collection of objects or values. For example, a character might appear in multiple episodes. So appears in logically returns a list. It's something like an array in JavaScript. Having these constraints in your schema provides clarity to both the server and the client consuming your API. Okay, we need to talk about some scalar types. I guess we can go here. Okay, we need to talk about the scalar types. I will create a video dedicated only to scalar. The scalar types we briefly mentioned, we have maybe 5 of them. First, we have the string, which is basically a string. We have an integer for numbers and stuff. We have float, and I will talk about what is a float in next video, but let's just know it for now. We have a boolean, something like a true or false, and we have IDs. Okay, these represent a single indivisible values with no subfields. You can't query a string for more fields because, well, it's just a string. Okay, so using object type queries, we need to talk about that. So where should we start? Yeah, let's start from here again. So let's assume that we have like now, how do these definitions work in actual query? If we have our character type in the schema, we might define a query like something like let's just put a block code here, and let's just copy this code to make it faster to understand. So if we want to make a query, we might take something like that. Then the client could write the query, and we will expect, because of the schema of GraphQL validates that as well, the character is a valid field on the query. It takes an ID of type ID. Also, it returns a character which has a name and appears in fields. Okay. So we need to talk about some takeaways. Yeah. So let's just wrap it up now. So object fields, which they are the blueprint for the data you can fetch. The fields, each field has its own type, which can be a scalar, object list, or non-null. We have what we call SDL, which is a concise language agnostic way to define your schema. We have validation thanks to the schema. GraphQL ensures query are well formed and consistent. If you'd like to learn more, stick around for our next video. Yeah, I guess we might talk about scalar types in details, like how to add custom scalars, handle nullability, and more. Thanks for watching this video, and see you in future videos.